Okay. You ready?
Might
Wait a
here.
couple of minutes.
Yeah, let's wait another.
All right. All right.
I thought I saw some more people coming in.
Now, Shar asked me to mention this second
Okay.
hour group, so
Okay.
I'll do that with the
She asked
announcement.
you to do it. That's fine.
Okay. Okay. We want to talk to you real quickly. Well, I just got a message from Stan, who's also on the estate.
I got a text.
You did too, just think.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
no, it was last night is when I saw it.
Oh,
Right after church, we're gonna look at the office and talk about.
yeah, but did you get, this morning she
Oh.
texted and said she wasn't going to make it. She has migraines.
Oh
She
no,
suffers
I
with
missed
those
that.
a lot.
Well, you and I have already talked about it. Do you want to
We
talk about it
have,
again?
it keeps coming up, and we had a meeting yesterday,
Mhm.
and we don't really have to. What we wanted though is for you to. We're kind of looking. You said you prefer a love seat in your office.
A love seat, or even
Two
like two
chairs.
chairs that, I mean, they make them so that you can push them together, but I want something that's stuffed and comfortable to sit on and
Right.
welcoming. I
Okay.
don't just want two chairs.
Okay. Okay.
I want some. I think a love seat would be better,
Yeah.
but I was concerned about getting things through the door because it's a narrow door.
Oh yeah.
So before y'all pick something out, you should measure that door.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's something I hadn't thought of. I mean, there's usually a way to turn it,
But
but not always.
well, so I mean, just something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
All right, I think we can get started.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of the Emerald Coast. I'm Kathy Broniger, a member of this fellowship and service leader this morning. I still remember when I first came to our church over 13 years ago, how pleased I was to find a congregation so opening and welcoming and based on the values that was so dear to me. Our UU Fellowship of the Emerald Coast is a religious community united by UU principles and committed to service, spiritual growth, and caring fellowship. If you're visiting today, you will find more information about us on the back of your order of service, also on our website and Facebook page. Please fill out a visitor card at the blue table by the front door so we can contact and connect with you and send information about upcoming events. We do not require a common creed for membership, but we do share certain principles and values. We feel each of us is on a spiritual journey and we share with each other our quest for a more meaningful life. We welcome you to join us in that journey. We do encourage everyone to wear masks in the building, especially when singing. Speakers and song leaders will be socially distanced during the service. Now for a few announcements. Uh, First of all, please silence your cell phones and other devices. Uh, Please review all the announcements printed in our order of service. We would also like to announce that we will be reconvening our choir in the fall. So if anyone is interested, please see our choir director, Cecile Lindegren, or me. Now for our chalice lighting, Dorothy is going to assist us. Um, Dorothy, here. Thank you, Dorothy. And I also forgot to mention that in the fall, we're going to restart our second hour programs. Um, if you're interested in facilitating small group discussions, please come to our organizational meeting on August 14th from 11:15 to 12:15 here in the UU library. Everyone is welcome and encouraged to participate. If you're unable to attend the meeting, contact Shaw Farley, and her email is listed in the second hour group's announcement. For our chalice lighting, well, we first have our prelude, which prepares us for our service today. It's Morning Has Broken, and will be played by Cecile Lindegren, our music director. Okay, and our chalice lighting this morning is that our different paths come together in this holy place, graced by the history of our free religious heritage. Let us be mindful of the forces deep within which call us to become more than we are. May this hour bring rest and renewal, comfort and challenge. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but that we are connected in mystery and in wonder to each other, to this community, and to the universe.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Ruth Van Lillian. I'm the minister here at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of the Emerald Coast, and I also want to welcome everyone. It's good to see familiar faces, and I also see some new faces. And I look forward, if I haven't already spoken to you this morning, I look forward to meeting some new people after the service. Our call to worship is number 637. If you would look in the back of the gray hymnals, and if you can't access a gray hymnal, please raise your hand, and one of the greeters will bring you one. 637. I see a hand back there, but I think Melanie's taking care of it. All right. Thank you. I will read the regular print, and if you would please read aloud the italicized print and be prepared to turn the page. For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time we have struck out in anger without just cause. For each time that our greed has blinded us to the needs of others. For the selfishness which sets us apart and alone. For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit. For losing sight of our unity. For those and so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness we forgive ourselves and each other, we begin again in love. What a wonderful way to start the fall. Would you please turn to 328 in the same hymnal? Number 328, I Sought the Wood. This is a beautiful poem by Willa Cather, which has been turned into hymn lyrics. We will sing all 4 verses. As you are able, I invite you to stand.
Okay, and today, or at this time in our service, we have a time for all ages. We like to include our children in this service, and Sarah Ford, our Director of Religious Education, will be reading a story for the children.
All right, she was going to be my assistant. So last week, Deborah, our service leader, she read some poems, and they were a big hit with the kids, so we just thought this would be fun. All right, the first poem is called Description. George said, "God is short and fat." Nick said, "No, he's tall and lean." Len said, "With a long white beard." "No," said John, "he's shaven clean." Will said, "He's black." Bob said, "He's white." Rhonda Rose said, "He's a she." I smiled but never showed 'em all the autographed photograph God sent to me. Next one is called Shoe Talk. There's no one to talk with. I'll talk with my shoe. He does have a tongue and an inner soul, too. He's awfully well polished, so straightened and neat. but he talks about nothing but feet, feet, feet. And Annabelle likes to read these too. Huh? Okay. Next one's called Noise Day. Let's have one day for girls and boyses when you can make the grandest noises. Screech, scream, holler, and yell. Buzz a buzzer, clang a bell. Sneeze, hiccup, whistle, shout. Laugh until your lungs wear out. Toot a whistle, kick a can. Bang a spoon against a pan. Sing, yell, yodel, bellow, hum. Blow a horn, beat a drum. Rattle a window, slam a door. Scrape a rake across the floor. Use a drill, drive a nail, turn the hose on the garbage pail, shout, Yahoo, hooray, hooray. Turn up the music all the way. Try and bounce your bowling ball, ride a skateboard up the wall. Chomp your food with a smack and slurp. Chew, chomp, hiccup, burp. One day a year, do all of these. The rest of the days, be quiet, please. We just have a few more. The porky. Oh, who will wash the porky's ears, and who will comb his tail, and who will shine his long, sharp quills and manicure his nails? Oh, Willie may wash the porky's ears, and Carol may comb his tail, and Sidney may shine his long, sharp quills, and I'll go down for the mail. This one's my favorite one. It's pretty simple. Do you want to read it, Shua, or no? You do?
No smoking, no spitting, no littering, no drinking, no eating, no parking, no speeding, no fishing, no floating, no swimming, no boating, no surfing, no hiking, no hunting, no biking, no running, no skipping, no skinny dipping, in no volleyball players, no spray can sprayers, no fly rod casters, no boombox blasters, no trash leavers, there's no frisbee heavers. Hey, it didn't say no beavers.
And the beaver knocked down the sign, huh? Yeah. All right, that's it. If all the kids want to come with me in the back, we're going to have the RE program in the back.
At this point in our service, we have what we call sharing of joys and concerns. It's a revered tradition in our fellowship and is the sharing of personal joys, milestones, and concerns during our worship service. This is a sacred time. It is for individuals who are experiencing truly significant events in their personal lives. We invite you to come forward and place a pebble in the bowl and share silently or in just a few words. Through this brief ritual, we deepen our connection to one another. Any takers? Okay. This is for those who share something in their heart of remaining silent. And for our offertory, oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
We live busy, noisy lives, and this might be your only chance this week to have a moment of silence. It is a powerful thing to sit in community and breathe together. It is an act which unites us to the earth and all that dwell within. Let us take a moment or two for some silence together, and then I'll close us with a prayer by the Reverend Karen G. Johnston called Constellations of Our Lives. Humans make maps of stars, choosing some, ignoring others, to project our imaginations onto the heavens. Humans make constellations by connecting stars. Humans make meaning by connecting stories, story to narrative to story. Some blaze bright, some are faint. Most are backdrop to the great and mundane human unfolding. Let us imagine the stories of our lives as a starry universe above our heads. As leaders of this congregation, we are tasked and trusted to draw constellations in this, our beloved, small universe. May the stories we connect draw constellations that reflect a shared ministry that calls out the best in us. Amen. Shalom. Blessed be.
For our offertory, we will have Nocturne number 2 in EM by David Alistar. Generosity is a spiritual practice, and our fellowship is supported entirely by pledges and donations. If you are paying your pledge today, please mark your check in the memo line. We will share cash and undesignated checks with Niceville Sharing and Caring, our Split the Plate partner today. This organization coordinates continual efforts to meet emergency needs in families in Niceville, Valparaiso, and Choctaw Beach.
friend Judith makes me laugh and sometimes cry. She also has a disabled adult son, and she is not afraid to talk about the hardest parts of life, the fears we both live with about our kids' futures. She is a Unitarian Universalist religious professional, a director of religious education, and she and I talk a lot of shop about church stuff. We share lots of stories about our parishioners and how they're wonderful and sometimes drive us crazy. We've known each other about 5 years, and I think what I find most precious about her friendship is that she brings out the best in me. She enables me to reach deep down and become more fully human in her presence. Becoming fully human is a way of talking about the human experience, the journey of life. The idea of growing into our humanness, of developing into the best versions of ourselves, has become immensely popular. The questions around what makes us human prompt much of our life sciences, inspire a great deal of our literature, underpin our legal and governmental systems, saturate our politics, and fill up our devices with photos, music, and homemade videos. I went to goodreads.com, which I recommend if you are looking for a good read, and I plugged into their search engine the words human, being, and becoming. And the search engine came back with over 3,300 titles. Here are just a handful. Becoming Human, On Being and Becoming Human, The Performance of Becoming Human, Becoming Human, A Theory of Ontogeny, Personhood, The Art of Being Fully Human, Becoming Human, Evolution and Human Uniqueness, Becoming Human, Meditations on Christian Anthropology, Becoming More Fully Human, Becoming Human, Our Past, Present, and Future, Human Being and Becoming, Living the Adventure of Life and Love, Becoming Human by Design, Becoming Human through Art, Technology and Human Becoming, Science, Religion, and Human Becoming, finally, the one you've been waiting for. The Becoming Human Story Collection, Becoming Human Through Music, and one of my favorites, The Home-Brewed Christianity Guide to Being Human, Becoming the Best Bag of Bones You Can Be. And the list continues. Apparently there is a lot of interest in becoming fully human. Author Kurt Vonnegut declared, "I am a human being, not a human doing." Teilhard de Chardin, Jesuit priest, science, and author, wrote, "We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience." My husband Bill likes to remind me regularly, "Have patience, I am a human becoming." To which I sometimes respond, "Well, we've been married 24 years. How much longer do I have to wait?" Our Unitarian Universalist principles begin with the affirmation of the inherent worth and dignity of every person. This is an affirmation of every person's humanity, no matter who they are or how they behave. We are all born with a basic designation of human. A great deal of effort and energy still goes into the question of whether we are all equally human. Do other factors affect the status of one's humanness, such as racial identity, gender identity, age, ability, disability, education, wealth, nationality, religious beliefs, or sexual orientation? How we perceive the humanity of others will be part of my next sermon in this series. Today we are looking at the quality of our own humanity and the internal depths to which we can or will go to live life as more fully human. What makes us human? What are the qualities of Homo sapiens, our scientific biological designation? Well, let's start there. The fancy word is taxonomy. We belong to the kingdom Animalia. We are animals, not plants or fungi. We are in the phylum Chordata, which refers to our nervous system. We belong to class Mammalia because we are hairy, warm-blooded, and feed our young with milk, just like dogs, cats, and wombats. We identify ourselves in the order of primate, and we join chimpanzees and gorillas in the hominid family with which we feel a certain familiarity. Which brings us to our genus and species, Homo sapiens. Though genetically, we now know that all modern humans have a small percentage of Homo neanderthalensis, or the Neanderthals as we call them. They are in our DNA as well. So we have a scientific biological definition of human, but that only takes us so far into our question of what makes us fully human. The humanity we are examining, while certainly connected to the flesh we inhabit and the neurological network that sparks inside our skulls, is still something more, something unseen yet sensed by intellect and emotion and, dare I say it, spirit. The question of what makes us human is one of the big questions pondered by philosophers, psychologists, and theologians, and emerges in art and literature. We could talk about the reformed thief Jean Valjean in Victor Hugo's Les Miserables, or Pilot Dead, who had no navel in Toni Morrison's Song of Solomon. Can you be human without a belly button? Yes, obviously, but don't wear a bikini. Such themes of the nature of humanity are common in science fiction and children's stories. Think of Pinocchio, a children's morality tale about a puppet who dreams of becoming a real human boy and finally achieves his goal through sacrificial effort and a little bit of magic. Or the cursed and grouchy character of the Beast, who is transformed back into a human through the love of his lady, Miss Beauty. L. Frank Baum was writing about this theme in the early 20th century in his book, which inspired the movie most of us grew up watching, The Wizard of Oz. Remember the traveling companions, each seeking a transformative gift: brains, heart, courage, and home. The Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman each argued the value of his desire in this passage. Both Dorothy and the Scarecrow had been greatly interested in the story of the Tin Woodman, and now they knew why he was so anxious to get a new heart. "All the same," said the Scarecrow, "I shall ask for brains instead of a heart, for a fool would not know what to do with a heart if he had one." "I shall take the heart," returned the Tin Woodman, "for brains do not make one happy, and happiness is the best thing in the world." Dorothy did not say anything, for she was puzzled to know which of her two friends was right, and she decided if she could only get back to Kansas and Aunt Em, it did not matter so much whether the Woodman had no brains and the Scarecrow no heart. In science fiction, robots, androids, even computer systems are developing artificial intelligence. Ever since the ship's computer HAL refused to open the pod bay doors in 2001: A Space Odyssey, we've been a bit nervous about such machines acquiring self-awareness. Isn't that supposed to be the primary and unique defining characteristic of Homo sapiens? There is a video floating around on social media in which someone has put up a camera in the woods and hung a full-length mirror on a nearby tree. A bear lumbers by and sees his reflection in the mirror. His response is immediate and fierce. He attacks the image and then looks behind the mirror for the bear he believes he saw. Finally, in bewildered rage, he knocks the mirror to the ground and stomps off. A lot of mornings I feel that way when I look in the mirror. For the most part, animals lack the self-awareness to understand reflections or pictures. Self-awareness and a sense of one's own mortality are important keys to our intellectual, emotional, and spiritual humanity. Understanding the connections to others and the boundaries between us and others, well, that's also important. Knowing where my me-ness ends and your you-ness begins is necessary to engage in relationships. A brief look at the teachings of some of the other world's religions about the nature of humanity yields some interesting insights. In rabbinical Judaism, the theological framework for linking human beings with God and each other is the covenant. This notion of covenant, which is a very large promise, first binds Jews to God because of the assumption that human beings represent the pinnacle of creation and are indebted to their Creator. If Jews obey God's commandments, then they act as heavenly creatures, and if not, they act like the creatures below them. Islam's view of human nature is an optimistic one. The Islamic faith begins with the premise that humans are essentially creatures of goodness, and that any veering away from this norm is the result of socialization and upbringing. So in the cosmology of the Quran, every human being is born predisposed to Islam, the primordial religion, and is perfectly capable of receiving the truths manifested by the light of divine revelation. In Buddhism, souls begin each of many lives in ignorance. As a soul goes through a cycle of one lifetime, the decisions and patterns of previous lifetimes influence the current one. The journey of existence is to repair oneself of the damage done by the past while attempting to follow the eightfold path of Buddhism toward enlightenment. The Dalai Lama, who is the highest leader of Tibetan Buddhism, teaches that love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. And be kind whenever possible. It is always possible. Now let us consider Christianity's central impediment to becoming fully human. All right, brace yourselves. Sin. Sin is that which separates us from each other, from the divine, and from our best fully human selves. Sin involves violation of covenantal promises and of healthy, necessary boundaries. Sin is that which causes hurt or damage to others and to ourselves, often simultaneously. We may choose to engage in destructive behavior and tell ourselves that we are the only ones affected, but in the end, if we hurt ourselves, others are usually hurt too. Orthodox Christianity teaches that humans are born into a sinful state, and that it is only through the atoning sacrifice of Jesus' voluntary execution that this can be changed. Of course, many liberal Christians, like myself, reject the doctrine of atonement. I cared for my mother during the last several years of her life. We argued frequently about things she needed to do to keep herself safe, like using her walker. She did not appreciate me nagging her to use it instead of grabbing the furniture to get around and keep her balance. I did not want her to suffer pain, and I also reminded her, I have a mercenary interest in your health. If you fall, you'll be in terrible pain, and I'll wear myself out trying to care for you. It is fair enough to add that Mama and I loved each other, and we both did and said some things that at times put distance between us. Whether we use that word or not, we all sin. We all make bad choices and hurt ourselves and others. In that state, we are much farther away from our full human potential. Whether you believe that humans are made in the divine image and charged with a divine spark, or whether you believe that humans are a random evolutionary development and carry a self-generating light, true meaning in life comes from living into our fullest potential for goodness and acting out of the deepest and most genuine loving kindness. Therein lies the joy we are all seeking. There is the core of our deepest humanity, our ability to love. We may be smart, educated, and understand many things, especially in this room. We may have resources, and we may be generous in sharing them. We may have talents and skills that amaze and serve the community. And we may not have any or all of these things. These things may enhance anyone's humanity, but what makes us most fully human is our capacity to live out loving kindness every day. It sounds so simple, but as we all know, it's not always easy. It is difficult to meet unkindness with kindness, to respond to hatred with love, to meet violence with gentleness. We are living in a time where rudeness is perceived as clever repartee, and cruelty is considered a quality of strong leadership. Our UU values, as expressed in our principles, and if you're not familiar with them, there it's about page 5 or 6 in the front of the hymnal. Our UU values, as expressed in our principles, urge us to live out of our deepest humanity as we live our lives. We are in a position to keep becoming fully human, not only for our own joy, but to model and share with this planet filled with the broken and the hurting. Human becomings. We are in good company. Let us go forth and repair the world. Amen. Shalom. Blessed be. Would you find your teal hymnals, little paperback teal hymnals? Our hymn is 1002 in the teal hymnal. One 1002, Comfort Me. We'll sing verses 1, 2, and 3. As you are able, I invite you to stand.
Comfort me, oh my soul.
Please be seated.
As we extinguish this chalice, we encourage you to believe there is still time to be all you want to be. There is time. By Grace Foley.
Siblings, kindred, we are human becomings, and we are in good company, and we can help to repair our world. Let us go in peace. Amen. Shalom. Blessed be. Please remain seated for the postlude.